Next question. Number 13. What are some grounding techniques that you find work for you? So, for me, I am a water sign, and water, big shocker, tends to be how I ground very easily. Also, like the regular grounding techniques that I've heard about, like just sitting on the ground, connecting with tree energy, stuff like that. So earth energy works as well. But I found water is something I can, I have some of my best meditations just sitting down in the tub and letting the shower head go on me, almost like it's rain, and just closing my eyes and, focusing on the water hitting my skin, on the dripping noises, until whatever happens next. Until I hit that meditation, that grounding, that inner peace sort of feeling, until I'm in the moment, One technique I also did with water that I do sometimes is, I want to say I heard it from Kara, or from Cute Witch 772, where she would sit down and envision herself in her current spot, and then pop out the land she's on, pop out the planet, pop out the universe, and then going back in, sort of thing. I have something similar to that, except I envision myself as the cycle of a raindrop and what it goes through. So going down from the clouds into the plant or nourishing the animal, like the raindrop going down into the stem and then into the roots and then into the ground and nourishing the earth. And then whenever it's really hot, any water left on the ground or within the soil vapors back up, and the cycle over again. I envision myself as the water droplet, being a part of the water droplet cycle, I guess. What's your biggest pet peeve in the magical community? Well, I'd say some of my biggest things... Ooh, hold on. I would say probably some of the biggest things that make me upset is gatekeeping in the community. People telling other people what they can and can't do with their spiritual path or within their witchcraft. It's kind of ridiculous. Just because everyone's on their own path, they're gonna do how they do. It's okay to feel defensive over, for instance, whenever I was getting into paganism, I knew someone who was also getting into paganism, and they started working with Freya as well, and I work very closely with Freya. The way they saw Freya was not the same way that we saw her in similar ways, but this person worked with her very differently than how I work with Freya. And for a little bit, that kind of brought feelings inside of me she's not doing it right, sort of thing. But that's ridiculous because I think the reason why people get upset about things like this is because it's so close to home for a lot of it. We're working with our spiritual paths, our religious paths, our witchcraft. It's something very personal to all of us. But at the end of the day, we have to realize everyone practices in their own way. The way I see Freya, someone else is not going to see Freya in the same light. And at the end of the day, I think as a goddess, as a deity, she can handle her fucking self. If she don't like the way someone's working with her, she's going to fuck off, you know, right? So apparently whatever Freya's doing with that other person in their path is working fine for both of them. And who am I to sit here and say you can and can't do that? It's okay to feel defensive about it, but when you do, acknowledge those feelings and figure out where they're coming from and why you're feeling them. Same things with witchcraft as well. You know, just because you do a spell a certain way doesn't mean everyone's going to do a spell that way. So, yeah. Besides that, I really don't like the racism sometimes in the community. People being like, just because, I don't know, like, just because the Morrigan is a Celtic goddess, and you don't look Celtic, or you aren't Celtic, then you can't work with her. Like, I guess that falls under gatekeeping too, but you know, it's a bit ridiculous. Number 15, what was your biggest spell disaster? I guess my first one, because it ended up getting me kicked out, but I don't think it was so much the spell as it was just me not being very smart about my spell work. Number 16, what is your view on black magic? So, I watched Ashley Michele do her What's Your Craft? Wow, nailed it. I watched Ashley Michele do her What's Your Craft tag, and when she was going through this question, it made me laugh really hard, because this kind of falls back under my little joke earlier. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? Well, I don't really know if I believe in, like, black magic, I guess. I kind of agree on that note. I mean, magic is magic. So you mean magic? Magic is dependent on the user and how they're using it. It's like a tool. Like, a hammer can be a great tool if you're just, you know, putting a nail in the wall to hang up a picture, but if you go and use that hammer to murder someone, yeah, like, magic's a tool at the end of the day. It depends on the user. So if you're using that tool to do something hurtful towards others, it really depends on the situation, I guess, because, like, I feel like when people are referring to black magic, they are meaning harmful magic, like hurtful magic, or evil intent sort of magic, I guess is the best way of putting it. So someone who maybe is using their magic to say, I want this person dead, so they're doing magic to kill someone. But why do they want to kill that person? Is it because they're jealous of them over something, like maybe that person took their boyfriend? Or is it because the person they're thinking about murdered their sibling? Something like that. I think it's a very difficult line. Like, it's in the middle, you know? It's a very gray area we're going into here. I agree with magic depending on its intent. And some people's intent is going to be different than mine, and some people think that some gray area magic will work really great for them and will be well for them. But then to me, I don't agree with that style of magic. So it's really depending on the person. Since I don't really know what kind of black magic we're talking about here, it's kind of hard to... I agree with magic. It's the way people use it. I guess that's the best way to put my answer. Oh yeah. And just because I don't agree with it doesn't mean it's wrong. I'll add that in there too. Depends entirely on every single situation. Number 17, is witchcraft an everyday thing or is it only for special occasions? So witchcraft for me, I would say spell work and stuff could be an almost everyday thing. I do little small spells here and there throughout my day-to-day life depending on what it is. But ritual for me is usually, like, I wouldn't say occasions per se, but it's like different. Like, usually I'll get an inkling to just start to do a ritual. So ritual for me is like whenever I actually open circle and stuff. Usually I just do my spell work without a circle and all that other fancy shit. It's a lot easier. But if I were to start ritual, it would really have to be something I just kind of get an inkling to do, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna plan for it real quick, or I'll just sit down and be like, okay, we're doing it. So my ritual work, kind of occasion, my spell work, pretty much day to day. Number 18, do you meditate? Yes. Number 19, do you practice divination? If so, what techniques? So I use oracle cards, tarot a little bit. I only have 2 tarot decks currently. I do like sky gaze sometimes, or like what's the right word for it? Oh, it's gonna kill me. What is this? What is the word I'm looking for here? Like seeing the cloud shapes in the sky, or water, or stuff like that. I can't think of the word for it. Y'all know what I'm talking about though. And those are the main ones. I've worked with runes a little bit, but not that much. I'm sure there's more that I'm not thinking about right now. Oh, look at that. I'm getting a call. Decline. Don't know anyone in Pennsylvania, so don't know why they're calling. Number 20. Moon phases, planetary correspondences, day of the week, hour, irrelevant, or key. Okay, so like, I would say, we'll wait for you to pass. I would say somewhere in between for me. I'm really intrigued with astrology and starting to learn more about that. Moon phases I've worked with a little bit, but not too much. Day of the week and like hour stuff I haven't specifically worked with, but I've become more interested in numerology as of lately. I wouldn't say it's key or it's irrelevant. It's just interesting for me. So somewhere in between. 21. Spell language. Do you like it simple? Do you dress it up? Is it poetry or is it silent? Sometimes silent. So it really depends on my mood, I guess. Most of the time it's I just kind of talk about what I'm thinking, what I feel. Sometimes it's very musical, like I have drums. I really have started to learn how to drum and how to make my own chants, and I'm freaking loving that. So some of my stuff's been coming out in chants, and then especially as of lately, like before I had an interview, I was doing a mini chant to myself saying, I am powerful, I am strong. And then I was just like saying, I can't remember the rest of it, but I was just saying it over and over and over again until the anxiety would leave me, sort of thing. And those have really been working well for me lately. I've also started practicing a little bit with light language. I'm still new to that and still getting used to it's a bit uncomfortable and very vulnerable to be practicing with yourself on that. And if you don't know what light language is, it's basically language from the self, from the soul, from the heart. And you come up with your own sort of syllables, your own words, basically your own language that comes from inside of you. And the only key words so far I've been able to distinguish from everything I've been practicing with is ieti, which means greetings or hello. And that's really the only one so far that I've like understood myself that like has a certain meaning. That's the only one that I remembered so far, but the rest of it I just kind of like feel something and then just say a bunch of gibberish essentially that comes from just how I'm feeling, and it's been really cool so far to really practice with that and learn about that. Number 22, do you keep a book of shadows and grimoire or grimoire? Yeah, I have like a lot. Maybe I'll show a video of that someday, but not today. Next question. I love how it just became me answering the questions and not even paying attention to the book. I swear I was cutting stuff out. I promise. 23, do you have an altar? Yes. Is it dedicated to any specific deity, season, or anything? The one I currently have set up, I guess there's one area that's, or two areas, whatever. So the main part of the altar is a TV stand. I used to use it for a TV stand, but now I use it for my altar. That whole section is dedicated to me, my soul, my personality, my everything, anything that just makes me feel alive, dedicated solely to me. Then I have a little, it's like a tiny bookshelf on top of the TV stand. Most of that area is dedicated to my ancestors. So yeah, that's about all I've got right now. I don't really have any other place to put altars right now, but once I get a new place in the future, we'll see about that. I can only snap with one, by the way. Can't do both. Number 24, thoughts on the afterlife. Ugh. Well, my first thought is, I don't know what the fuck happens. It's a great thought. Now, if I were to go and really get spiritual on my fucking self, which you know I will, I think I really believed in this since I was younger. I believe in reincarnation. Now, do I believe in like heaven or hell or the like promised land sort of thing, the happy place, everyone's happy area, what's the other thing? Enlightenment, whatever, and the void, hell, so on and so forth, underworld. Maybe, I don't know. The only thing I can say for certain that I think I believe in is reincarnation, and I think we come back as many times as it takes to learn however many lessons we need to learn, whether that be here on Earth or in another universe, another planet, another whatever entirely. Who the hell knows? I don't know. 25. Number 25. Do or would you teach and practice witchcraft to your children? I have mixed thoughts on this. I would definitely want to introduce aspects of paganism and witchcraft to my children if I had any. I would not want to force them to be pagan or be a practitioner of magic or witchcraft. That's how my life growing up in Christianity was. I was forced to believe in the Christian God and Jesus. And if I didn't, I was sinning and I was going to hell, sort of thing. That was never something that was good for me. So I kind of really don't care what religion or whatever path, if it's not religious, my child or children end up following, just as long as everything they're doing to try and better themselves in the future. As long as they're trying to be a good person, I don't give a shit what the fuck they practice. Number 26, do you have a totem animal? If so, what is it? So, one animal, I guess it's more of a species of animal, if I had to say anything. But there's a specific animal that I really vibe with within that I think is my specific animal. But my family line, my ancestors, the way I always see my ancestors come across to me in messages a majority of the time, or even my deities, is through birds. Like, birds are a very big thing in my family, and I don't even think some of my living relatives really understand how closely knit it is within our family. So for instance, in my grandma's kitchen, she keeps like a rooster theme going on. She has roosters all over the place. And my mom, one of her themes in her kitchen or in her house is she keeps doves everywhere. So it's funny, like, I don't remember if I've ever brought this up to my family before, that I think we are closely related with birds, but personally I believe that, just from what I've seen. So what is my bird that I've associated myself with? You probably already know. It's a crow. You know, it's in my name. In case you didn't read my name when you subscribed, or if you didn't subscribe and you're just here. Yeah, I associate with crows. And my spirit guide that I work with is a raven. So, raven, crows. I'm a bird lady, apparently. It's great. Number 27. What are some witch books that have what are some witch books that have influenced you? So I really thought about, hold on. I really thought about making this a pagan, like, okay, every pagan freaking does this, right? Or every witch does this. They share their whole witchy collection of books, which I have a lot of witchy books. But I thought what would be more interesting and fun is if I took a fictional switch on that. So what are some of my favorite fictional books that can come across as pagan or spiritual? And I have 3 books in mind. One of them I have next to me, so I'm going to grab it because it's my favorite book in the world. Whoop, and there goes everything. Okay. So this is like my favorite book of all time, and I love it so much. It is called Song of the Sparrow by Lisa Ann Sandell. Don't know if you've heard of it. It has to do with sort of like the whole King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table sort of thing. I don't know the specifics of the mythology behind that, or if that is, I think it's a myth. I could be wrong on that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know the origins to any of that, is what I'm saying. But this book does sort of a personal story based off of those characters and stuff, and they add a character named Elaine. And Elaine lives in the camp with these, like, all these warriors. Some of them are her family. And she's the caretaker, essentially, for them. And she cares so strongly for them. She is learning how to use herbs in order to heal some of their wounds. She sews their clothes in the camp. And the story, like, I'm not gonna give away any of the story because I think it's really beautiful, but to me they're just like, she talks about moon goddess and stuff like that in there, and it's just so witchy to me every time that I read it. I might reread it again, honestly. I love this book so much. It's so good. And then another book I read whenever I was a kid, which I think a lot of kids might know this one, is I read the Warrior Cats series up to a certain point. I don't remember where I stopped. But if you at least read the first series, then, which is like 6 books, then you'll know what I'm talking about. It's from Erin Hunter, which I believe is a couple of ladies, and that's like their alias name or whatever, or the pen name. I don't know. I think that's what it's called. Anyways, so this is interestingly about a bunch of cats living in a camp area. Well, there are 4 camps in total, and every full moon selected members from each camp, including like the leader and all the important cats from there, all meet at these 4 trees in the middle. And I can't remember the meeting name place. It's been years since I've read this book. But they all go meet there for the full moon, and they have a meeting of all the clans talk together and talk about what's been going on in their camp and stuff. And there's battles between them every now and then. Because they're fighting between, like, for territory and stuff like that, or just other shit that's going on. So the main character, who used to be a house cat, which they call kitty pets in the book, he ends up joining one of the clans, and there's this whole thing about how the clan's going to be destroyed, but the only thing that can save the clan is fire. And so this is one of the leaders talking with, and this is the part that's really witchy to me. Well, not only that, 4 clans, 4 trees, all coming together, 4 seasons, all that shit. Super witchy. Spiritual, at least. Is the... What was I saying? Oh, the leaders and some other, like, chosen cats, like medicine cats and stuff, are able to talk to StarClan, which is basically their ancestors that live among the stars, and they can communicate basically with the ancestors. And so the ancestors, the StarClan, whatever, cats, tell her that fire can save her clan, and usually fire would be what burns down everything, destroys everything. But when this little house cat, kitty pet, comes in and joins the clan, they give him the name of Fire. And then they change their names as they go along as well. So he starts off as Firepaw, but eventually goes to Fireheart. So he goes through other stuff as well, but that would ruin some of the series. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So, we'll just call him Fireheart for now, because that's when he's a warrior. He becomes a warrior. So yeah, Fireheart saves the clan, and it's just like they talk to the spirits, and there's 4 of everything, and it's just so spiritual, and I love that. And what was the other book I was going to... this one is the closest, I think, to pagan stuff, which I'm pretty sure... Do I have it with me? I had it. It's behind you. Oh no. I'll get it in a minute and show you. So this book, I believe, was influenced by some of the pagan deities anyways. So, yes, let's hop into that. This one is the House of Night series, and I can't remember the first name of the book. The book's in my closet, and I'm not going to go get it. But it's a story about sort of this vampire school, and this girl gets turned into a vampire, and she has to go and, like, live with other vampires like her, go to their school and stuff, and just kind of her explorations of being a vampire. And they all are, like, devotional and worship the goddess Nyx, which is the goddess of the night. And this is the House of Night series, so yay. And it's just, like, very, very, very witchy. There's a lot of witchy sort of aspects in it. So the main character and her grandmother share Cherokee blood, so that's, like, a big part of it as well. And her grandmother always calls her, like, a little bird or something like that. I can't remember the exact thing she calls her. There's the, by the way, another thing, I connect with birds. Funnily enough, a lot of these series involve birds, except for the cat one, which would eat birds, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, many of you may know, sorry, it was holding my camera up, this oracle deck, it's actually my favorite oracle deck, is from the House of Night series, and it's freaking amazing. Or it's based off of it, rather. So, Ooh. Hey. A little bit more. There we go. So anyways, yeah, I know I could have gone into doing like your basic, here are my witchy books, but I really wanted to give some fictional recommendations instead that are sort of witchy. One more thing. You can find this on, I want to say it's Netflix. This is not a book, but it's a show that is so freaking witchy to me, and I bought the book of it because I never read the book in school like most people did. Is the TV show Anne with an E, and I believe it's Netflix, I want to say. That freaking show, like, that main character is literally me. I love it. Like, she's such a dreamy character, and like, that show hurts my heart. I love it. I haven't finished the second season yet, and if you've watched the series, you'll know what episode I'm talking about. Or when you see this episode, you'll know which one I'm talking about if you've already watched it. Is the, like, soiree at Josephine's house. That freaking episode made me cry in so many ways I didn't understand because I loved it. It was just a beautiful episode. And I think even if you're not going to watch the whole series of anything, I think you should just check out that episode because it's freaking beautiful and it makes me want to die and I love it. And yes, like, I would love to throw just, like, whenever I get a new home, just to throw a little mini, like, soiree in my home with, like, just put a bunch of flowers hanging from the ceiling. Everyone wears flower crowns and it'll just be divine. And, like, everyone's accepted and we could all, like, share things. Dude, what if I did that? What if I, like, made a little soiree every, like, month or so? That would be, like, guys, I'm changing my mind. I'm gonna start a coven. I'm gonna make a little mini witch coven where we all come and meet up, like, on the full moon or something, and we're all gonna have our flower crowns and we're all just gonna be accepting and we're gonna share. We're gonna have like a what do you call it? A girl, well, I mean, guys can be into, I don't care. But, like, we gonna have a talk about all of our deep inside stuff, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Anyways, went off on that. And with it is great. You should watch that, because I love it. Anyways, I should get to the next question, because it took way too long to answer that one. Number 28. Tools. Are yours handmade only, natural materials only? Do you only need your will? Or is it anything that works if you want it? For me, it's really anything and everything. I mean, I can use natural materials. I can use store-bought materials. Not really anything, like, I use everything for the most part. I don't really have I don't limit myself on what tools I use, I guess. But it would be interesting to see if I could do without certain tools for a while and see how I develop my craft. Number 29. Do you have a magical name? I do, actually. I do have a magical name. I have debated a long while whether I wanted to share it, though I don't know if I'm going to share it. The way my magical name works, and I don't know if anyone else has really done this before, but I do this, is the first part of my magical name stays the same. It will stay the same for as long as I'm alive. I'm keeping that name always. The last name of my magical name is ever changing and always shifting. So right now I think it's going to go through a shifting phase because I'm not sure if I still connect with that one as much as I did whenever I first made it. But the first one, I always, like, I don't give that one away just because it's personal. Just reference, we'll put my actual first name here in place of my magical first name just because I don't want to give that away. So Rebecca, we'll say, in place of first magical name. And last name right now that I'm using for my magical name is Autumn Grove. Although I'm feeling like I might change it. I don't know yet. We'll see. But the first part always stays the same. And yeah, that's all there is to that. Number 30, favorites. So favorite season. Right now, I don't know if I have a favorite season. Usually I would be quick to jump on and say that fall is my favorite season, which it usually is, but I've recently made a discovery that usually I get depressed most around that time of year, especially around October, around my birthday. It's a very depressive time for me. So I'm kind of going through discovery on whether it's still my favorite season or if I feel differently about it now that I've realized, like, made this realization about that. Favorite herb? I really like spearmint a lot. I don't know if this counts as an herb because I think it's just wood. I don't know if that counts, but I'm really into sandalwood. And yeah, that's my main two. Favorite crystal? I have it over there and I'm not gonna go get it because it's too much, but I have a prehnite or prehnite, I don't know how it's pronounced. It's a little green stone with like black dots on it. Really cute, super good for like healing work and stuff. That one. And then my other one that's my favorite is amethyst, which I have. It was my first stone I ever had, or my first crystal. I don't know where the hell it went, because that crystal, for whatever reason, always disappears on me. Like, I'll find it whenever I feel like I'm least expecting it. I'll just randomly find it and be like, oh, that's where it went. And I swear it will not have been in that spot. Like, I had checked that spot previously, and then all of a sudden it just appears there out of nowhere. Yeah, that particular crystal is a little bit, how do you say it? It's like a, what's the word I'm looking for? God damn. Oh, I'm having troubles figuring out words today, folks. It's a playful crystal, to put it lightly. Likes to play around and be all over the place. So when I next find it again, I'll show you it. Favorite rune, don't really have one because I've only worked with them a little bit. Favorite tarot card, I'm really into the Temperance card. I connect with that one really well, and I don't know my tarot cards that well, but I know that, like, when I first saw that one, I connected really well with it. Favorite symbol, probably the yin yang, because all that balance. And sigil, I don't really have a favorite sigil right now, but I'm kind of looking into sigils, so maybe that'll change. That was the last of the questions. This is going to be a long video, and I hope the audio is good on it, because I really do not want to go and re-answer all of those questions again. That would be a lot of work. Like, a lot of work. Anyways, the creators, hope I'm getting this right, because if I get this wrong, it'll be a mess. But the creators are Ashley Michele herself and the Island Alien. I believe her name was Julie, but I haven't checked out her content yet, so hopefully in the future I'll check her out. And those are my kneecaps. Hope you enjoyed them. Mo, you gonna give me a kiss? He hates me. That's the end of this video. Hopefully you guys check out the what's your craft tag for yourself, and I would love to see your videos on it too. I'm sure Ashley and Julie, that's her name, if not the Island Alien. I'm trying my best. I'm sure they would love to see your videos on it too, so go ahead and check them out. Check out the questions, do your own video on it. And that's pretty much it for me today. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, guys.